Well, she's been the busiest person in our whole community for the past couple of weeks and maybe even a little bit longer. Probably having a little time, I hope, to sip on her coffee this morning is our West Bloomfield Township Clerk, Debbie Binder. Good morning, Debbie. Welcome back to the Splash Live.
Good morning, Dave. Good to see you. And you're right, we've been really busy for the last few weeks.
So, Township Clerk Debbie Binder, how big was this election from a numbers standpoint here at home and in West Bloomfield and around the county?
I don't know the county. I really watch West Bloomfield. We had a turnout of about 36,400, which was a 64% turnout, which is actually close in line with what we had in 18. However, we do have 6,000 more registered voters than we had in 2018. So there was a significant increase.
So what that's interesting. I didn't expect to go there, but let's talk about that. So 6,000 more people have registered to vote. Is that we have more population here or just more people are getting involved in the political process?
I think it's a combination of both. Our census numbers were up, so we definitely had an increase in population. But I think, the last couple of years, people have become far more engaged in politics and the youth especially, where they may have waited to register. They're coming out as soon as they're, 17 and a half or 18 to register. They can register at 17 and a half, can't vote till they're 18.
Okay, so people are registering, more people are moving in the community, and this whole process it's got a little bit more complicated, but I think in the end, easier for people to vote. I did a video. You've been too busy, I'm sure, to see it, but I shot a video in my car driving into the township, driving right up to the drop box, and that was a really nice setup you guys had.
Yeah, it's really a convenience for people. We have one on each side of the building, but we've worked hard to encourage people to use the one on the west side of the building because it's a lot larger and we don't have to worry about it filling up. But we do have them available on both sides. It is a tremendous convenience. And I think you've seen absentee voting provide an opportunity for a lot of people that they've appreciated. We did see the numbers where during COVID, we saw that we were over 70% of our votes were cast by absentee. Those numbers are coming back down. We were about 54% of our votes were cast by absentee this election. So I think that's probably where we'll stabilize is in the 50s. Somewhere in over 50% of those votes will be cast by absentee ballot.
But that's a big change from maybe a decade ago. It used to be people would vote absentee. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but it used to be where people would vote absentee if they were in Florida or they were going on a vacation or sick. Now it just seems 50% of the people voting that way and a little bit more in the past, pretty big number.
It is a significant increase, but West Bloomfield has always been a community that's engaged with absentee voting. Now that Proposal 3 of 2018 made it no reason absentee voting, so you've definitely seen an uptick since everyone had that option. But we were always a community where people chose to vote by absentee ballot, so it is up. But like I said, over COVID, we had over 70% of our ballots came in as absentee ballots, and now we're down in the 50s. So it has been all over, and it does depend on whether it's a gubernatorial, which election it is as to how people choose to vote.
Debbie Binder is our West Bloomfield Township Clerk joining us this morning in the Splash. Debbie, thank you very much for being here. Now, I know there's a contingent of people that are concerned about the way the elections are going and just the securing of our vote and making sure it's safe and it's going according to procedure. That's got to be, from your perspective, given all the work you do to make sure everything is right. I'm not saying it's frustrating, but does that surprise you? And can you talk a little bit about some of the things you do to make sure that our voting integrity is sound here in West Bloomfield?
It is rather disheartening because, like all of my colleagues of all partisan, persuasions, we work really hard to make sure that every one of our residents and constituents has the opportunity to cast their vote. And one of the best ways people can alleviate their concerns is to work an election and see the checks and balances in place. When I brought in quite a few new election workers for this election, and after training, I said to them, "Are you surprised by how much goes into it?" And they said, "Yeah, well, this is new since 2020." No, it's not. Every machine is tested before the election. Every precinct in Oakland County is audited after the election. There are so many safeguards in place that if people actually see the process, the life of an absentee ballot or the process of checking the machines and testing, they do feel reassured. So that really is the best way to get people to feel more comfortable. Work an election, find out what really goes into it, even attend a training. I offered anyone who came into the office an opportunity to follow the life of an absentee ballot and see what their ballot goes through. And I've said to many people, I'm the president of the Oakland County Clerks Association. We're a bipartisan group of clerks in Oakland County, and I trust any one of them with my ballot because I trust the process and I understand the process. The only way to understand that process is to get engaged and see the process in action. So I would encourage anyone with hesitation or concern to please get involved, volunteer to work an election. And you do get paid, actually. It's a paid volunteer position, but it's very educational and very informative as to how much really goes on to the election. So you know the facts instead of just the narrative.
Well, and I appreciate that, and I think it's brilliant advice. And you want to see it, you want to learn the process, come work an election, and you're doing some good for your community. Debbie, here in the state of Michigan, we have our laws allow you to start counting those ballots before election day, which certainly speeds up the process. We look at the states in the western part of the United States; they can't start counting their ballots until the polls have closed. Do I have that distinction correct? Because it's really taken them a long time to get their ballots counted out there.
And I really follow West Bloomfield in Michigan, so I don't follow out west very much at all. I mean, things are changing in Michigan with Proposal 2, and we will continue to learn how those will affect, West Bloomfield directly. Right now, we're just kind of waiting for some guidance from the Bureau of Elections in the county and before we implement any changes. But as far as out west, I just don't know their processes. I don't want to make up an answer.
I get that, and I appreciate your thought. Congratulations on getting our election handled so quickly, getting our results in quickly, and just another great job. I mean, there's an awful lot to it. It's like anything else in life. You don't really know all the little details that make it work, and you and your staff have done a wonderful job. Congratulations. Thank you for a safe and smooth election process in West Bloomfield this time around.
Thank you. I do have to say I am very lucky. I have an unbelievable staff, and we bring in quite a few temporaries to help because it's a big job to get done. But I am really lucky. My staff is incredible, and they make me look good and they make it look easy. But I'm very happy to have the support I have in place, as well as the support of the community and the support of the board that allow me to have the staff I need to get this large, process done well.